Hello everyone and welcome to another showcase of Dual Universe. We're here on the TTV server in front of Factoria as usual, and today's showcase is going to be our full-on Databank manager. I have it installed over here on my personal right, the Ray, so let us dive right into it. Let me reactivate my HUD here and we make our way in here into the server room, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the SRTDB manager. It currently tells us and informs us that our programming board over here currently is offline. Now before I activate it, let me show you real quick how it's set up. If I go into build mode, you see, yeah, the Ray is a pretty high-tech ship. There's a lot going on here. If I click this programming board, you will see it is connected to the Archat Databank, as you might see from the title. One dummy databank over here, as well as our small screen on top with which we're going to be interacting. Now, as I leave build mode over here, I will activate this programming board and it will sync up the data from the databanks that it finds. And this is what we get. Get a little icon and a little window for each of the connected databanks. First one is unnamed, that is our dummy databank. Second one is the Archat databank, as we saw over here. Now the Archat databank has 166 entries. That is a lot of entries. Most of them are from the Archat autopilot, but some of them are also properly stored local computer entries, which are from the Serenity controls overall script, which I'm going to show in another video. Now, what does this manager do? This manager does basically absolutely everything you would ever want to do with the data bank. What does this mean? If I click, well, we can clone, copy, wipe, and even edit individual entries. So if I click on the Archat over here, the list of these 166 entries appears, and I can scroll as I want through my entries. You see a lot of entries here. Most of them, as I said, are from the Archat. Some of them are our own. For example, if I go on container optimization over here, I can also not just see the values over here, I can also edit them. If I click on this entry here, container optimization, you will see a key and a value. The way the data banks are set up is each entry has a key, which is basically the name of the entry, and the value associated to that key. Now, we can edit both of these. I can edit the title, but since this is a title that Archat needs, I'm gonna let it be. But I can, for example, edit here, delete my 5, go into my numbers, and tell Archat that actually my container optimization is a 4. I go and enter, I go and save, and then it refreshes the data from the databanks. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, container optimization has been set to 4. Let me set it right back because I do actually have container optimization level 5. Talents are very fast on here on the third verse server. Enter and save, and there you go. Once again, after this refresh is done, it's going to be set to 5. So I can set all of our entries on our data bank here. I can also wipe. I can add new entries over here. Anything you want, a key, you can set it as a table, a float, a string, whatever data type you'd like. But let me demonstrate the wiping function on our dummy data bank, which is this guy over here. As I click on here, you will see a few values, a few keys stored on this data bank. I can go and wipe all. There is obviously a double gated confirm, because we don't want to accidentally wipe everything, do we? Then we go to wipe, and you will see it refreshing once again. And once this is done, it's going to tell us 0 entries found on this data bank. Now, we can also go into clone mode, and it has automatically selected Archat as our source because this data bank is empty. So we can click on here to set it as the target data bank. And now we have several options opening up. We have another wipe button here. We can merge settings. We can merge the the entries. For example, if our dummy data bank already had some items but not others, the merge will just add the new items from Archat that this one is missing. We can also clone all the data, all 166 entries, And interesting for many users, we can copy the ArchHUD save locations only. Finally, we can also clone individual items, and since this is the most versatile tool, let me demonstrate this. As I click this, once again, the list of 166 entries on the ArchHUD Databank appears, and we can set, I don't know, I want this setting, I want altitude hold, I want use extra, I want vector to target, I want turn and burn and lock pitch. 6 entries, and as I click on copy, it will once again refresh and copy those items onto our databank. And it somehow fails refreshing, so let us just refresh manually like this. And voila, here we will see our 6 entries on the databank copied over from ArchHUD onto our dummy databank. Besides this, there is also one final feature, which is if ever there is an entry you're looking for, you don't know exactly what it's named, but maybe you know something. For example, I don't know, I want to look for vector. I can type it into our search bar as follows, vector, and then search for it. And it's going to be searching through our databanks, and then it found one entry here and one entry here. And as I click on it, the list appears and vector to target appears highlighted with a golden yellow frame, which is our search result. It found vector to target. Now I can edit this value, delete it, do whatever I want with it. So this is a rather versatile tool. This is very useful for people who are coding, that want to test some items and values and keys, for example, or overwrite them. But it's also overall very useful if you're in a guild and you want to copy and transfer, for example, your save game locations as someone new enters the guild, your organization, for example, and you want to tell them where the all the homes of the organization are, and then you can copy, for example, all the ArchHUD locations. You can copy them over, only them, while keeping the other settings of your autopilot intact. Finally, there's a little button here that just allows a little debug window telling you real time. For example, if I scroll, it's going to detect the wheel. And that is it. You can find this script on my GitHub. It's going to be in the video description. And as usual, thank you all for watching. Join us on Dual Universe. It's really a wonderful, amazing game. You can program everything and, well, do all sorts of stuff. And join us on the third verse. Lovely community. Good server. That is it for me today, folks. Thank you, and see you next time.